Wow. Now the Israeli government just doesn't care if they kill kids or not, because you got the Israeli security minister praising an officer for shooting a 12-year-old in Jerusalem, a city where Palestinians are considered second-class citizens.
Security forces have shot dead a 12-year-old Palestinian boy whom they accused of being a terrorist. Rami Halhuli was one of 6 Palestinians shot dead by forces in occupied East Jerusalem and the West Bank yesterday.
Yeah, that's the IDF's excuse for anytime they murder a person, just claim it's a terrorist, especially in an occupied area where those people are actually allowed to defend themselves against an illegal occupation, since the occupation is considered illegal.
The shooting happened at the Shuafat refugee camp here in occupied East Jerusalem, which is home to about 16,000 people. The boy was playing with a firework with friends in front of the family home. Israel's national security minister hailed the officer who shot him as a hero and a warrior.
Wow, the dude is a hero for shooting a 12-year-old that was just playing with some fireworks.
From East Jerusalem, here's our senior international correspondent, Orla Guerin, and a warning that her report contains scenes that some may find distressing.
How was another Palestinian child shot dead? Rami al-Haluli lived and died in the shadow of Israeli watchtowers. His home was here in East Jerusalem.
Man, imagine being forced to live in a walled city where you're a second-class citizen just to be killed by the occupying force, claiming you're a terrorist, and you're just a kid playing with some toys. Well, fireworks still can be considered a toy. I mean, it's like in the United States where black kids are killed by the police just for playing with toys. You had Tamir Rice, who was playing with a toy gun. Cops rode up on him and just murdered him. Did anything happen to those cops? No.
Sealed off by walls and fences and Israel's occupation.
I mean, you can imagine this happening to Jewish people in World War II when it did happen, as they were forced into ghettos and just murdered by Nazis. Now it's right-wing Israelis doing this to Palestinians.
His family say he loved school and wanted to be a pilot. Last night, Rami was playing with friends, holding a firework. A shot rings out. Rami is dead on the ground with a bullet to the heart.
More likely gets shot by a sniper since he was shot in the heart. That is messed up. These IDF soldiers that are killing kids, we gotta stop pretending that these people are like heroes and stuff for murdering kids. No one's a hero for murdering a kid.
His father, Musa, was there in seconds, struggling to hold back his mother. Today, Musa is mourning his youngest child. He used to help everyone, he tells me, all the neighbours. Then grief overwhelms him.
And if you talk to any Israeli defender, they'll be like, yeah, Hamas, October 7th. So that gives the IDF the right to kill people in Jerusalem and the West Bank, which makes no sense whatsoever. No matter what, Hamas has done to the Israeli government, it does not give any IDF soldier or the Israeli government the right to murder kids and innocent people.
This is the street where his son died. Standing here, it's hard to imagine how Rami, a 12-year-old boy with a firework in his hand, could have been any kind of threat to the border police, who were down the...
Well, for the Israeli government, I mean, Israeli hostages are a threat. Journalists are a threat. UN staffers are a threat. And babies are a threat. Like, everything is quote unquote a threat to the Israeli government as long as they want to murder that person.
Road, beyond that high wall with the fence at the top, heavily armed and well protected.
This does not seem like a democratic country. It seems more like a fascist government that, forces Palestinians to live underneath a fascist regime where they're locked into ghettos. I mean, you got to remember that the Israeli government will label Israelis traitors and jail them if they don't join the IDF or speak out against the Israeli government committing genocide. And you got tons of Israelis against the Netanyahu government liking him to Hitler and the Israeli government to Nazi Germany. I mean, that is kind of that shows how bad your government is if your own people are liking you to a genocider.
Fayez was Rami's friend and by his side when he was killed. Were you afraid they might shoot you too? I was afraid I would be shot or killed or badly injured, he says. And if I was shot, they would take me and torture me.
Yeah, there's a lot of Palestinians that have been released from Israeli prisons after being kidnapped and held prisoner that speak about being tortured by the IDF soldiers and the Israeli government. You have a lot of people that come out of uh, these military prisons with various injuries. Uh, how is that like considered to be like a good thing for the Israeli government to be torturing their the people that they kidnap? They want to claim it's military arrest and stuff, and they're bringing kids to a military court, but this is kidnapping. I mean, imagine if Hamas said the same thing about the people that they kidnap, that they're just bringing them to a military court to be tried and then put into prison. That wouldn't be acceptable.
Israel's far-right security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, was backing his men today. I love you guys, he says, but he was avoiding our questions.
Well, yeah, no surprise. I mean, this doesn't really surprise me that the ministers, these right-wing ministers, are praising the murders of these kids. It's like the 3 Israeli hostages that were gunned down by the IDF, considered to be a threat while they were waving white flags. They were killed, and the commander did nothing about it, said that he was perfectly okay with murdering the Israeli hostages, the people that they were supposed to be saving.
Why did you congratulate the police officer, Minister, for shooting the child? What evidence is there that the child was causing anybody any harm? Do you have any evidence?
Why is he so scared to talk to the media about his praising of the murder of the Palestinian child? I mean, if he really had like evidence supporting the IDF, he could easily show it, but he's afraid. Why are these right-wing Israelis so afraid of actually talking to the media?
Minister, witnesses say the child was just setting off a firework in the air.
You say he's a 12-year-old. I say he's a 12-year-old terrorist. A 12
Yeah, he's a 12-year-old. Just because you consider the person a terrorist, I don't care. You are praising a person murdered a child. That is terrorism for the military to murder kids.
12-year-old who endangered one of our officers.
And that's how these right-wingers in Israel just see any Palestinian. Uh, Even if you're a baby, if you're 12, you're an adult, you're considered a terrorist when the IDF kills you.
The officer should be commended, not investigated. I will take steps to get him an award.
Well, the officer should be commended for murdering a 12-year-old child who was doing nothing wrong.
Back at the scene, Mustafa tells me he witnessed the killing from his window.
Man, that's just messed up. How it is messed up to watch so many people die in front of you, and nothing can be done to stop it because the people are backed by one of the most powerful governments in the world.
He wasn't holding an M16 or a bomb or an RPG, he says. He was a child playing. How come a sniper shot him?
Well, it's not like these people truly care about if a Palestinian is a child or not. They're going to murder them anyways, even if you got people saying that, you know, that the Israeli government has to kill babies because the babies are going to grow up to be terrorists, and that somehow justifies murdering babies.
Was it just because he's Palestinian?
Yep, it was just because he was Palestinian.
And what future for the next generation, growing up under Israel's watchtowers? Orly